There are two groups of people that employers tend to take advantage of the most, and one of those is junior developers. If you're looking for your first job, or maybe you're already in your first job, there's a very good chance that you are getting the short end of the stick in one area or another. This video is probably going to be a little bit different from other videos that I've done, as I'm probably going to rant a little bit more. I do have three takeaways for you, but I'm probably going to vent a little bit here about the situation as we go. So I want to discuss how employers take advantage of junior developers and really what you can do to protect yourself and to help yourself move forward in your career in spite of that reality. Hey Junior Devs, Dev Mentor Dave here, helping you bridge the gap from learning code to launching a successful career. There's no doubt that you've probably found some areas in your journey as a junior developer where you feel like maybe people are taking advantage of you. And I'd love to hear some of your experiences. If you leave a comment down below, I'll definitely read and respond to it. So I want to start off this rant by saying that I'm not really ranting against companies. I'm not ranting against employers, even though it's easy to kind of look at them as the ones who are the bad guys in this situation. You do have to understand why they take advantage of junior developers. I think most employers are not looking to take advantage of junior developers in a malicious way. Rather, they're just trying to do the best thing that they can for the company. The reality is we view the way other people treat us, especially the things that we don't like, as somebody taking advantage of us, when a lot of times they're just trying to do what is best for them. And especially when it comes to companies and development companies, there's a lot of overhead costs that comes with hiring developers and maintaining developers and getting work and things like that. And so junior developers provide a really good opportunity for companies to get workers and hopefully somewhat skilled workers to be able to get the job done while not having to pay as much money as they would if they had senior developers on staff. So when I say a company is taking advantage of junior developers, it's not necessarily a bad thing or a mean thing or a malicious thing. It's more of just a reality of the industry. It's a reality of what's going on with companies and how they're trying to make payroll. But unfortunately, that reality does impact you as a junior developer. And so you need to be aware of these different scenarios and situations, and you need to be able to take control of that situation. And really, that's what my rant is about today. It's not so much that these companies are horrible companies, but my rant is that you as a junior developer probably haven't been given the tools or the information to really help you take advantage of this situation, to help you know what are the right steps to take so that you're not taken advantage of. Of course, this goes back a lot to the training that a lot of junior developers receive and even some of the lies that junior developers believe that they're told about the industry, about their ability to get a job and things like that, the money that they'll be paid. And so you really need to understand what is going on in this industry. And all this kind of came up because I was having a discussion with some other developer friends of mine who were former co-workers from multiple different jobs in the past, just about compensation and about junior developers moving up in the ranks in a company. And I've just heard story after story after story, and I've actually seen story after story after story of junior developers who kind of get stuck in a rut, get stuck in this position, who come in at a low salary and they don't know any better and they just get stuck there. And frankly, that's my experience. I came into a company and I made very little money starting out compared to all the other devs that were on staff. And I had just as much skill, just as much ability to learn and grow as anybody else did, but I was not in a position to have the information that I needed in order to protect myself from being taken advantage of. There are basically three things that you need to understand and that you need to integrate into your process when you're either looking for a job, when you're talking about compensation, when you're talking about growth opportunities, when you're talking about even a raise at your current company, all these different types of places where employers will try to seek as much advantage as they can, which they should. They need to make money, obviously, otherwise they can't pay anybody. So again, we're not yelling at the companies for being bad companies, but you need to understand some of these things. And this first issue really comes from a junior developer that I worked with, probably the second or third junior developer that I worked with after I felt like I was at a senior level myself. Now, this junior developer had been working for the company for several years, I think about 4 years at that point. She had come on as a junior developer, did not know very much, had learned a lot on the job, had really grown her skills to become a better developer and very useful to the company, very impactful. She was doing really most of the work that was necessary. It was a lot of WordPress work at the time. And so she was responsible for a lot of those updates and fixing a lot of things. Some things she didn't know, which was fine. She had areas to grow in, but she was working there for 4 years, and I think for most of that time never got a raise. In fact, when she went to ask for a raise, the employer basically said to her, "Prove to me why you think you deserve a raise." And that was kind of hard for her because she didn't really know. She didn't know what information she needed to give to the employer to show, hey, this is why I deserve a raise. And so the first thing that you need to do to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of is that you need to document your growth and your impact on the company. This is extremely important, especially if you're in an environment where they do not give you automatic raises. Maybe they don't even give you one-on-ones, no feedback at all as to where you're at in the process of getting a raise or getting a promotion or something like that. You need to be documenting for yourself and for them proof that shows that you are growing in your skill set, and proof that you are not just growing, but that you are growing your impact in the company. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like keeping a list of the different things that you've learned, maybe new frameworks or new languages or new applications that you've had to integrate into your workflow. You need to keep a list of successful projects that you've completed, or maybe different pieces that you've worked on projects that have been completed, and be able to tie in your productivity into the success of the company. See, at the end of the day, what a company really cares about is how you are helping them become successful. And even as a junior developer, you're part of that process of making a company successful in the projects that it does. Not only is that helpful when you go to ask for a raise, to be able to justify, this is why I deserve to get a raise because I've done this and this and this and this to make this company money, to make this company successful. But it's also something that you need to be putting on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile, all those places where people are going to see what it is that you've done to be worth what you're asking for. So documenting your growth and your impact is not just key for getting a raise, it may be key for getting your next job. Now, finding your next job may be a bit of a chore, and I always recommend going through recruiters because I've had a lot of success going through recruiters. But one of the interesting thing about going through recruiters is they have a different interaction with the company that is hiring the developers. Obviously, they're kind of selling a service. They're offering their services to us to help us find a job, and then they're kind of selling the service of getting a developer for that company. Several years ago, when I moved from my first contract position back into full-time employee status, I got connected with a recruiter who I'm still friends with here on LinkedIn even today. This recruiter actually helped me get a raise. I was asking for a certain amount of money, and she said, well, can I actually put you in for $10,000 more than what you're asking for? And of course I said, no, that's silly. No, I'm just kidding. I said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think that you can get $10,000 more, absolutely. And she did. And I was able to get a job because of her. I was able to get a job for $10,000 more than I thought I was worth. And so that's kind of the second thing that you need to understand. You need to not only document your growth and your impact on a company, but you need to actually know your value in the marketplace. There are lots of ways that you can do this. You can talk to recruiters. You can go to places online like glassdoor.com and other places online where you can find information about what people in your position, people with your experience, with your knowledge, what types of salaries they're getting. Because if you just go in blind, or if you just go in with, hey, I need to make X amount of money to pay my bills, you might be lowballing yourself before you even get into the interview. And let me tell you this, every company is going to take the lowest possible amount from you if you don't know what your value is. So whether you're going into a raise situation or whether you're going into a new job interview process, you need to know what your value is. You need to know what junior developers or mid-level or senior developers are making with your years of experience, with your knowledge, with your education, whatever it is that you bring to the table. You need to know, what is that really worth? Because if you don't know what you're worth, there's a good chance you're probably going to undercut yourself. And let me just be perfectly clear here. I have found that most developers that I talk to tend to undercut what they think they're worth. So I always tell people, hey, ask for more than you think you're worth and let somebody else bring you down. So document your growth and impact on the company. Know your current market value when you go into those discussions. And there's one more thing that I really think everyone needs to be willing to do and understand the power of. See, years ago, my wife and I made some pretty bad financial decisions. We went to one of those meetings where they promise to give you a free vacation or something like that if you go and you sit in on this presentation. And of course, we went into it and we said, we're not going to buy anything. We're not going to spend any money. We're just here to get the free thing, right? That's what everyone says. We're just here to get the free thing. But we sat through the information and it sounded good, but we were like, you know what? We don't make spur of the moment decisions. And of course they kept pushing and we stayed longer and they kept talking more and more. And we started talking about it. Well, could we afford this? And really at the end of the day, basically what happened was we bought this vacation package that we never used. When we wasted a lot of money on this vacation package that did us no good. In fact, the vacation that we were supposed to get for free never even materialized. It was a horrible situation. And all of that happened because we simply were not willing to just say no and walk away. And this is probably the hardest thing, especially for junior developers, especially in our current climate and a current market like today, where it's really hard for junior developers to get a job right now. It's really challenging for junior developers and even mid and senior level developers to say no to an offer and to walk away. But the reality is, if the offer isn't right, you shouldn't take it. And there are a lot of junior developers who just feel like, man, if I don't take this opportunity, then I'm not gonna be able to get into the workforce, and it's gonna hurt my career. And don't fall into that trap, okay? Don't hurt yourself financially just to get into the market. And I know there's a lot of opinions on this, and there's going to be people that disagree with me. I see no reason to hurt yourself financially, to go out there and get another job just to support you, especially if you have a family, to support your family while you're just pursuing this dream. There's other ways to do that. So you really need to be willing to say, no, that's not enough. That's not good enough. That doesn't meet what I need for my compensation. That's just not going to be good enough for me. You've got to be willing to say no and walk away. And here's the thing. If you've done a good job of marketing yourself, keeping track of what you've learned and the impact that you've had on your company, if you've done a good job of knowing what your value is in the marketplace, if you've done a good job of selling yourself as who you should be, then when you say no and when you walk away, a lot of times that just makes you more desirable. And I've actually had opportunities where I've said no, and I've said no multiple times, and I've had people come back multiple times offering me more money, offering me signing bonuses, and it still wasn't the right opportunity for me. But it's amazing what people are willing to do when you have proven to them what you're actually worth. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. Hopefully you have something to take away and understand what's going on in the marketplace, understand what employers are going to try to do, not because they're horrible people, but because they're running a business and they need to make as much money as they can and have few expenditures as they possibly can, and employees are a huge expenditure. So you need to understand those, and hopefully this has been a help to you and giving you some ideas of how you can make sure that you are protecting yourself from being taken advantage of by these employers. If this video has been a help to you, I'd appreciate it if you would click the like button and help it get out to more people so that it can be a help to other junior developers and maybe even mid and senior level developers who need some encouragement, who need some help to negotiate and to navigate these waters of compensation and finding a company that is going to give you what you are worth. As always, if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I'll see you on the next one.